Welcome to another episode of Destinations, Dents, and Discoveries.
Today we come to you from Whitehorse, Yukon. It's the capital of the Yukon. Yeah? Oh, sorry. No, we're actually in Tucson, Arizona. We fast forwarded quite a bit because we had a few dents.
Yes, if you recall, we mentioned David had some back issues. Well, we ended up needing to make a couple of surgical consultations.
I ended up having back surgery is what Donna's trying to say. That all those back problems really created some issues for us during our travels and really interrupted the whole editing and creating videos thing. My mom got sick.
Luckily, she's doing great now.
Absolutely.
But we had to rush to LA to be with the family and her.
And along our travels, we were doing lots of videoing for you, and we also had work obligations. So with all of that, things sort of got interrupted.
Yeah, you could say.
So here's what we're doing. Today's episode, we're going to be bringing you Whitehorse to Dawson City, all the way up to Chicken, Alaska. And then we're going to bring you several episodes more from our entire Alaskan and Canadian experience. That's going to be called Season 1. But we're also going to be starting Season 2. And obviously Season 2 starts someplace like this. So what we'll do is we'll make two different playlists. A Season 1 playlist for all of the Alaska and Canada travels. And then we'll make a Season 2 playlist for everything afterwards. So watch out for those. But today we're going to bring you
Whitehorse to Dawson City to Chicken, Alaska.
Enjoy.
We have just left the Alaska Highway and turned onto the Klondike Highway. We are on our way to Dawson City, the top of the world highway, and eventually Chicken in Alaska.
I'm hoping that taking the top of the world highway with this trailer wasn't a mistake, but we'll find out and let you know whether or not it's one of our dents. Yukon's capital left behind, the wilderness stretched ahead, and we prepared for our first stop of the day at Braeburn Lodge. This roadhouse is a legend along the Klondike Highway, known for its warm hospitality and a truly iconic treat. Inside, the walls tell stories of travelers past since the days of the Gold Rush trails, and the real star of the show is their cinnamon buns, each one a massive, gooey masterpiece, baked with a recipe that's warmed generations. We're continuing the Tour de Cinnamon Bun. Today we're at the Braeburn Lodge on the Klondike Highway, where I have the cinnamon bun that's literally as big as my head. The last cinnamon bun that I had, as you'll recall, was not great, but now okay, that's good cinnamon. Good cinnamon bun. Yukon Flyers are also covered. They get their cinnamon buns by flying into Cinnamon Bun Airstrip next door. After nearly 150 kilometers on the road, Doug was ready for a stop, and thanks to the milepost, we found the Montague Roadhouse historic site. Roadhouses were the lifeline for travelers during and after the Gold Rush, and there are remnants of them all along the Klondike and Alaska highways. Perfectly spaced for stagecoaches and sled dog teams, they offered warm meals and places to rest. The Montague Roadhouse is a quiet relic that helped us imagine the grit, determination, and the lives of past travelers to Dawson.
So we're still continuing on the Klondike Highway towards Dawson City, and we were just commenting on how while we were planning for the trip, there was all this hype and scare tactics of the Alaska Highway.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
Be prepared, you need tires and extra tires, and it's crazy.
I thought the Alaska Highway was better than some of the interstates we've been on down the lower 48. I'm just wondering if people manufacture drama because they want to make it seem like a bigger adventure.
I love the drama.
It's a big adventure, but the Alaska Highway was fine. And then we got to the Klondike.
And for the first part of it, it was okay. It wasn't as good as the Alaska Highway, but it wasn't treacherous.
Yeah, like all the way to Carmax, I think it was smooth and fine.
And now there's evidence of frost heaves. I would say
potholes
that have been repaired at one point, but now they're open again. So you just keep your eyes out and go at reasonable speed and watch the cars either in front of you bouncing along, and then you know it's time to slow down.
like here.
or you can see the difference in the highway.
Also, somebody with some road department has gone through, and a lot of places put signs to indicate where there's bumps, or even flags on the side of the road, each side of the road, where the bumps are. So it just takes attention. And of course, this is what we have to say about the Klondike. Once again, we'll let you know about the top of the world highway, which is funny because all the visitor centers we've gone to, we say, how's the top of the world highway? And every one of them has said,
in Canada, it's fine.
It's fine on the Canadian side. As if to say, watch out on the American side, so we'll see. Meanwhile, back to
the drama.
Before embarking on this journey, we heard warnings about the vast distances and the limited gas stations along those distances. The advice was clear: fill up whenever your tank dips below 50%.
Out of gas, but how?
Being new to the Klondike Highway and the Alaska Highway, we also worried about maneuvering our very large rig into remote fuel stops. Back in the lower 48, we rely on truck stops for our diesel, thanks to our fleet card discounts, and also because of their easy access, never having to be concerned about height restrictions or turn restrictions. In the end, our concerns and the drama proved unfounded. We made it a point to start each day with a full tank, and thanks to the milepost, we always knew where fuel was available. Pulling in and out of the stations was never an issue. The only real surprise? The diesel prices. But honestly, in a place this remote, you can't really complain. It's just part of the adventure. So let's hold the drama and stop from scaring people.
Oh, wasn't that scary? Oh, I got scared, kids. Oh. All right, that wasn't scary.
With the truck fueled, a belly full of cinnamon rolls, our heads full of history and nature, and a happy pup in the back seat, we were back on the road, such as it was, to Dawson City. There were plenty more spectacular views around every bend of the road, but after a long 500 kilometers of driving, it was nice to finally arrive and settle in for a few days of exploring and enjoying this historic Klondike Gold Rush town.
Dawson City caught us completely off guard. This far north outpost was the epicenter of the Klondike Gold Rush and the home of prospectors, poets, and gold-fueled dreams. It remains a living relic of that wild era. With historic buildings in daily use and others quietly fading into the permafrost, it's a place where the past and present share the same wooden boardwalk. When the news of gold reached the world in 1897, the rush was on. Tens of thousands of hopeful prospectors dropped everything and set out for the Klondike. Some boarded steamships, while others trusted their lives to barely floating wooden dreams. They soon learned that getting to Alaska was the easy part, because that's where they encountered the brutal Chilkoot Pass. Eventually, they reached Dawson City, a booming hub of hope and hardship. It's quieter today, but still carries the weight of those dreams, where rusting riverboats still whisper stories of the fortune seekers. We set out to see where it all began, the discovery claim on Bonanza Creek. Nearby claims still dot the hills, some boldly boasting of big claims, but the legacy of gold is more than just history here. It's still a big part of Dawson's economy, culture, and identity. Drive a bit further and you'll find that mining never left. Giant trucks and modern dredges now scour Bonanza Creek with 21st century muscle. further down, the historic dredge number 12 still stands as a rusting reminder of the industrial might that followed pickaxes and gold pans. Not far from there, we found the discovery claim, where on August 16, 1896, gold was first found in the Yukon, sparking the famous rush. We wandered the area where that first gold was found, and Doug was convinced he found his own discovery. We didn't have the heart to tell him the claim's already taken. So we went to claim number 6 instead, a public gold panning site run by the Klondike Visitors Association. There, we saw a real deal old-timer quietly working his pan. It looked easy enough, so David gave it a shot. And what did he find?
That's gold, Jerry! Gold!
Well, goldfish.
I'm rich. I'm a happy miser.
After all that work panning for gold, we needed to refuel. First with coffee at Red Mammoth Bistro, followed not long after by a stellar lunch at Bonton & Company, where the food was as memorable as the setting. Then, it was time to explore another side of Dawson's legacy, one that's a little more literary. Our first stop, the rustic log cabin of Robert Service, often called the Bard of the Yukon. Born in England and raised in Scotland, Service came to the Yukon in the early 1900s as a bank clerk. But it was the people, the landscape, and the lingering energy of the gold rush that stirred his imagination. Just a short walk down the road brought us to the Jack London Museum, where we explored the life and legacy of the author of The Call of the Wild. London's time in the Yukon during the gold rush was brief but transformative. He didn't strike it rich, but the experience inspired some of his most enduring works. The cabin here is a reconstruction, half made from logs taken from the original structure near his Klondike campsite, and the other half thousands of miles away in his hometown of Oakland, California. From literary legends to something, well, a little more infamous. We made our way to the downtown hotel, home of the legendary Sourtoe Cocktail. This peculiar tradition started in 1973. A frostbitten toe from the 20s was found preserved in a jar of alcohol. Someone dropped it in a shot of liquor, and a Yukon legend was born. The rules are simple. You can drink it fast, you can drink it slow, but your lips have got to touch the toe. Let's just say Donna had absolutely no interest in participating. But me? I wasn't leaving Dawson without my certificate.
Okay, so I'll have you read the rules.
This gentleman is the toe captain. He's not the first. That honor goes to the famous Captain Dick Stevenson, whose hat is retired atop a big Sourtoe above the bar. The captain is here to document and log those who have successfully entered into the elite Sourtoe Cocktail Club, which means it's his job to make sure everyone follows the rules. And in case you can't read this, it says, number 1, follow the captain's instructions. Number 2, membership will be voided if you chew, suck, bite, or put the toe in your mouth. And number 3,
Because what happens is if something happens, if you swallow it or you put it in your mouth or you touch it with your tongue, I just void the certificate and then hand it to you because you still paid for the shot, so you still get your certificate, right? And then you go on the shit list and you're not allowed to do it again. We cut you off.
if the toe is swallowed, you must pay a $2,500 fine, and failure to pay that fine will result in prosecution.
Okay, David, are you ready?
I am ready.
Pick that out of there, didn't you?
David, you can drink it fast. You can make it slow. But your lips must touch this gnarly toe. No teeth, no tongue, and no tonsils. Enjoy.
Bottoms up. One drink, one shriveled toe, and some dribbled whiskey on the front of my shirt, and mission accomplished. After drinks and dinner at the bar, we capped off the evening with another Klondike classic, the Can-Can Show at Diamond Tooth Gertie's, Canada's oldest gambling hall. After paying our $20 for an annual pass, we skipped the slot machines and card tables and made our way to the balcony for the show. With dancers, sequins, a piano player, a drummer who could have stepped out of the 1890s. It was campy fun and absolutely a perfect ending to our time in Dawson City. After a few unforgettable days in this Gold Rush time capsule, it was finally time to say goodbye to Dawson, but the adventure wasn't over just yet. The only way to Alaska from here is to cross the Klondike River, and the way you do that is via the George Black Ferry. The ferry's free, it's provided by the Yukon government, and admittedly, I was a little bit concerned about taking a truck and trailer on a boat. That said, the staff were total pros. They directed us onto the ferry next to another RV, and before we knew it, we had crossed the river and we were on our way to the top of the world highway. We've left Dawson City. Only one way out of town if you're headed in this direction, and that's by the government-provided ferry. It's free, and if you have any anxiety at all about that trip, don't. They do an amazing job getting you on and off. There were us and another truck with a travel trailer, and then a very large truck with a very large camper, and they expertly got us on there. We fit like a hand in a glove. It was really amazing. Where are we now?
We are on the top of the world highway heading to the border and then Chicken, Alaska. If the video is a little bumpy, the road is gravel and not maintained.
We're told these will be probably the worst roads we'll have the whole trip. Beautiful drive, just a winding road. I can see why it's called the top of the world highway. And Chicken, Alaska, here we come, back in America. I don't know if you can see behind me, but right about there is the Alaska-Canada border and the border crossing into Alaska and back into the United States. And I had a Zoom meeting that I needed to do, and Donna had some work that she needed to do, so we stopped here at this rest area, which is 1.5 or 2 kilometers from the border, and we set up Starlink right here as we're working, and we've had flawless internet. I had a Zoom meeting. People would have no idea that I was literally in the middle of nowhere, and wonderful meeting. So thanks to Starlink for allowing us to get our work done right here on the Alaska-Canada border. After our work stop, it was a quick drive to the border crossing station where, after answering a few questions about anything we had to declare and talking pickup trucks with the border agent, we were soon on our way to Chicken. But not before a celebratory dance at the Welcome to Alaska sign. And remember those Canadian Visitor Center folks? Yeah, they were right. The roads really were better on the Canadian side.
40-plus miles after crossing the border into Alaska, we finally arrived at our destination for the evening, Chicken, Alaska. We pulled into our generous pull-through site, parked, and that's when we saw it. The airstream was coated in dust, like it had just crossed the surface of the moon. Inside looked like we'd driven through an earthquake. Cabinets popped open, pillows everywhere, total top-of-the-world chaos. Welcome to Chicken, Alaska. Population somewhere around 12 in the winter, a few dozen in the summer, and several hundred if you count the chickens. Originally founded by gold miners in the late 1800s, the town was supposed to be named Ptarmigan, after the local bird, but no one could agree how to spell it, so they settled on Chicken, which was easier to spell and frankly a whole lot more fun. we wandered over to the Chicken Creek Saloon for a well-earned cocktail or two, poked around the Chicken Mercantile Emporium, and soaked in the off-the-grid charm of this funky little outpost. The next morning, it was time for something truly important. The final stop on our tour de Cinnamon Bun. The legendary sticky treat at the Chicken Creek Cafe. We regret nothing. After mailing a few postcards at one of the most remote post offices in America, it was time to hit the road again. We rejoined the Taylor Highway, which is what the top of the world highway becomes on this side of the border, before rejoining the Alaska Highway and ultimately making our way to Fairbanks. And that's where we'll pick up next time, touring Fairbanks, flying above the Arctic Circle to Bettles, Alaska, and visiting our first 2 national parks in the state, Gates of the Arctic and Kobuk Valley. We can't wait to share it all with you on the next episode of Destinations, Dents, and Discoveries.